Okay, let's go through a list of reasons why to come to the door in an acting class. So these are typically Meisner acting classes. Sometimes they're used in different acting classes too, because it's a great exercise to use in various different styles of acting. So, first one on the list is borrowing jewelry for an event. So you come to the door, your intention is, this is your intention of something tangible or something physical or something that you can actually achieve getting from a person. Getting an evening dress for a ballroom dance. Loaning a vehicle for a week. Borrowing uniform for a job. Borrowing a uniform for a sports event. Some funny costume you need to have with certain colors on it. You know, make it specific. Get sports leagues tickets. You know that they have some extra tickets. You want to be able to get their tickets. Believable. It's a believable reason to come to the door. You need to learn a dance routine from them. Maybe they know how to tango. They know how to do some ballroom dancing. They know how to do specific pop, whatever, pop dancing or whatever you call it. Korean pop dancing, and you need to learn the routine. To pick up a map for a GPS search hunt, you need to get the coordinates of a GPS search hunt. It's good. To pick up a map looking for a missing person. Very interesting. You reason to come to the door to get money that's owed to you. Now it's interesting, but here's the problem. When something's owed to you, there's less openness to it, so there's less vulnerability. So typically you want to put yourself in a more vulnerable spot as an actor. So if you're coming to the door for money, it would be even better if you can come to the money and you're asking them for money that they don't owe you, but you're asking for them. Okay, reason to come to the door is to get the paint needed to paint a car a specific color. Hi, now listen, could you please just help me out? I need really, really good acting questions so I can help you out. So if you can write down in the comment section, each comment a separate question, write down an acting question. This would really help to be able to have people learn acting. To get an instructions manual for an old computer with one of those discs. So maybe you have some Bitcoin or you have some, you know, some digital currency or some files you need to access, and you need to get the instruction manual to get the computer uploaded. It's realistic. Okay, reason to come to the door is to get a bootleg copy of architecture design software. Sometimes runs like $10,000 or $5,000 for specific software, and some of them don't have actual plans that you can pay. So I'm not suggesting that this is a good activity to do. I'm just saying, or a reason to come to the door, but I am suggesting that it is something that has been done in the classes. So it's much better to go contact the supplier and to do a monthly subscription to the program. But people have done this before in class. I know that people use that reason. Now, need a place to stay. Now, if the reason to come to the door is need a place to stay, guess what? You bring your suitcase. You pack your suitcase as if you're going to go and stay over at their house. You bring everything, including your toothbrush. And you bring your suitcase to the door. It's a good activity. Now, let's say you need a place to clean up. You've just been through a horrific event. You know, you went through some experience and it scuffled you a little bit and you need a place to clean up. Gather yourself. That's a realistic thing. There could be all sorts of emotional preparations that could be used there. Nicely, too. Really good. Okay, so a reason to come to the door is to return a spoiled costume or borrowed costume. Could also be a borrowed dress. That's a good reason to come to the door. Another reason, to learn to ask for a rumor. What is this? To learn to ask about a rumor. So let's say you heard a rumor about something about yourself. You're coming to the door to see what is the rumor. You heard something and you're coming to a trusted friend to be able to hopefully tell you what is the rumor. Reason to come to the door is to borrow a painting. Maybe you're borrowing the painting to try and sell it for their friend. Maybe you're borrowing the painting because you need to be able to have it for a display that you're putting of a collection, for an event. There's a bunch of reasons for that. Good, it's a good reason. Reason is to come to the door is to get an inheritance. So let's say you need a signature from the person on the inside of the door, and then you need a signature to be able to get the inheritance. It's a good one. Now, reason to come to the door is to get answers for a test. You could have to get answer for a test, and could be an open book test. It doesn't have all the answers to it, and you know that you can't find them somewhere else. Now, to ask, reason to come to the door is to ask for a heirloom piece or a sentimental piece for a funeral ceremony. So somebody has passed away and you're coming to the door to be able to get some kind of heirloom piece or sentimental piece. Now, before we go through the rest, and this is just a piece, just the part of what we'll be, a very, very, very long list. Follow obviously your directions from your teachers in the classroom, right? But the thing is you want to try and come to the door with motivation. So you want to pick something that's actually motivating you. And then you can, at the very last moment, add another motivation ingredient to be able to come to the door. And that's very, very, very smart. Very smart way to work. And obviously, when you're coming to the door, these are going to change as you're learning to work with them. So, like this one here is you come to the door, reason to come to the door is to get a roll of toilet paper. Listen, it's a practical thing. You could be camping, you could be in a situation where your supplies runs out somehow and you need to do that. Or you could ask for a female hygiene product. That's a good one too. So, reason to come to the door. Now again, the more vulnerable you make yourself as an actor, and you're able to do this with belief, you come to the door and knock on something that's going to put a little bit of vulnerability in you, you're going to have to listen to the person a little bit more. So this is very good. Okay, reason to come to the door is to get 2 cups of flour and baking soda. Reason to come to the door is specific yarn for a knitting project. Maybe you can't find a specific yarn. You could be coming to the door to ask for wax for car waxing. Hi, now listen, could you please just help me out? I need really, really good acting questions so I can help you out. So if you can write down in the comment section, each comment a separate question. Write down an acting question. You could be coming to the door to get furniture wax paste for waxing furniture. You could be there to ask for borrowing gold leaf material for doing a lamp, or you want to put gold leaf over a computer or some kind of cup or object, and you can't find the gold leaf. Sometimes you can get these gold leaves in supply stores and stuff. Sometimes they're a little harder to find. And that's one of the reasons why I have a store with a lot of materials in it, because I want to make sure that people have access to the materials. Sometimes they're hard to find. They have been over the years at least. Now, reason to come to the door, borrow tools needed to cut a mat out for a picture frame. So you have a mat that's behind the picture, you've got the picture, then you got the mat in front of the picture, sorry, and then you put the mat in the picture frame, you put the glass over top, and you put the picture frame in. You've got to cut the mat out, and you could do the regular rectangle shape cutting, or you could be planning to go and do like a square or a star shape. You could do all sorts of things. So, reason to come to the door, borrow tools. I did that, yeah. Brass, you could borrow brass polish solution container. So you've got some tools, maybe you borrowed somebody's jewelry somewhere, and you've got to return it spick and span, you've got it tarnished, and you've got to be able to come to the door and get some brass cleaner. You know, that's a good activity. And it's a good activity to include for a reason to come to the door. So you've got an activity that you're doing, that you're involved in, that you're stuck in, and the person on the other side of the door is actually able to give you something that you need to be able to get things done. So you're showing up to be able to get that done. Now, it goes without saying, it should, but the reality is you've got to be able to craft these so that you're not showing up asking outright for that item. You drop the door when you get to the door, but you come with the intention of the door, and then you put all the energy and built up emotional life, if there is any. Sometimes it's simpler than that, but hopefully you've got something worked out. Now, later on you'll add emotional preparation, probably pretty quickly too, to the work. And most times people don't even work with emotional preparation when they say they're working with emotional preparation. They're usually working with feeling, and they're just getting a little feeling that they're trying to get. And it's better to really saturate in those feelings until there's an emotion that will overwhelm you. And then when you've got that overwhelming emotion starting to overwhelm you, then you bring that to the door with the reason. And the reason to the door, the next one, you need to get computer RAM for your computer program. Say you're running one of these online things, or you're trying to get your computer editing program, or you're trying to do whatever, and you need a RAM upgrade, and you know the person has some RAM that they're not using, and you could be able to get it. That's an impetus to be able to come to the door, and then you work moment to moment off of that. Okay, so next reason to come to the door is you borrow tools for leather and engraving. That's a great one. Now, reason to come to the door, borrow silver threading for costume completion. It's a good reason. Reason to come to the door is to ask for tools to do tin dotting. Back in some of those mining camps back in the day, they used to have tin dotting, and they used to do that as a hobby. They used to have tin dotting, and they'd sell them in crafts, we call them craft bazookas, or craft bazaars. And you'd have these bazaars where they all sell the craft sales, or whatever you call them. And some, they have little businesses in the mining camps and all these different, but typically it was something that, because it was something people could do. So that could be used as a reason to come to the door. Now, you take a reason to come to the door, you want to borrow food coloring. There's a reason. It's a reason. Now, if you're working with something as a simple idea as that, and you add your other ingredients to it, you're a more advanced student, it's a good reason to come to the door. Now, you got a reason to come to the door is you want to ask them to get a fixed flat can or a spare tire. You've got a tire, and you happen to have a flat tire near your friend's house. You come in over, knocking on the door, ask them for a spare tire, or you're asking them for one of those fixed flat cans. Obviously, the exercise is not asking them about that, but the reality is that's the impetus of the door, and you leave the door off and you work off the other person. Okay, so a few more here. Reasons to come to the door is to borrow a unicycle or juggling equipment. Let's say you got a job doing juggling and balancing on a unicycle, and you know how to do that. You know how to do it well enough that you can do the task, and you've got to borrow their equipment, otherwise you won't have your job. That's a good activity. That's a good reason to come to the door. Okay, so reason to come to the door is to pick up a bridal dress either before or after a wedding. Now, you get to decide this. Is it going to be before, or is it going to be after the wedding? Okay, so the last one I have on this list is you go get the reason to come to the door is to get an engagement ring. Now, it's a great reason to come to the door. Now, you take these pieces of content and you add that with the emotional preparation, and then you later can add motivation. Make sure that you really got motivation to carry that into the work. And you can add, your story, you can add your relationships when you're working on relationships. Obviously, you got an engagement ring with your best friend, and your best friend didn't show up at your wedding. And you're coming to ask them for the engagement ring for some reason. There's some practicality there that does something to people. So that's a reason that they want to be able to come to the door, because they want to get the arrangement. It could be male and female, where the bride's not showing up at the wedding, or the groom hasn't shown up at the wedding. and one of them hasn't shown up at the wedding, and they show up at the door, and they're asking for the engagement ring back. That's a good exercise baseline to base your work off of. So these are decent enough ideas to work off of, and that's what I said. So you can add some ingredients to these, and then you can really craft them for yourself, and you can get something going. Now, if you would boop the like button, I'm going to boop the like button. Help yourself out and help me out, because I'm going to be doing a lot more work with these, and making sure that people have the information they need to be able to do really good exercises of their work. I don't want to see bad exercises. I've seen well over 20,000 exercises. It's actually closer to 40. And the thing is that I don't count all these things. So I've got a list of 900 independent activities. That's for sale for either $7 regular price, $5 sale price. And what that money does is it helps me to be able to keep making content, making sure people got things done. So help me out, help yourself out, get doing good activities, and really work hard at your acting, and you can get somewhere. I know these techniques. I've seen them top people in these in acting. I've seen the top people learn acting before they even knew how to do acting. They'd come into the classes and we'd have to teach them. And I sat there through so many classes. Some of them I taught, then sometimes I was substitute. But the reality to this is it's very good. I know exactly what actors need for training. So subscribe if you want to, and boop the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.